just as lying is the most number one adult alcoholic characteristic that gets an employee to fire an employer. The next one, judging yourself without mercy, and the fact that ACoAs judge themselves without mercy is the number one reason that ACoAs decide or determine they have to quit their job. It's the number one cause for people getting burnt out in the workplace. You see, growing up, your alcoholic family, your alcoholic parent, the dysfunction with an alcoholic family made you realize that it didn't matter what you did, you were judged without mercy. And so you learn to do that for yourself and pass on a lot of judgments that just weren't even fair. If you were an average student and you made typically C's and B's, that wasn't good enough. You were judged without mercy, and your parents wouldn't let off of you until you made straight A's. And then once you made straight A's in the A honor roll, you had to make A pluses. And God forbid you made straight A's on a report card in school and then dropped to a B in one class. It was almost the unforgivable judgment of humiliation for your parents towards you. You're judged for not being able to do anything right. And no matter what you tried to do right, it wasn't good enough. And that carries itself into the workplace. Subconsciously, because you've had it pounded into your head as one of the reasons that you could never be loved or accepted was because they judged you without mercy, and that you weren't worthy of forgiveness. And that whole psyche and mental attitude is so damaging, not only as children, but when we get to be adults, it just becomes more fulminating, and it becomes even worse because we judge ourselves so harshly. We judge ourselves harder than we do those around us that are working, and even though we might be working harder than those around us, we still don't feel like we're contributing enough in the workplace. And that's all because of this lack of being able to sit at the table. You know, at Thanksgiving time, there's the adult table and the kiddie table. And if you're an ACoA, chances are you weren't worthy to sit at the adult table. You always got set to the kiddie table. And in the workforce, because you judge yourself without mercy, you're going to always be willing to allow yourself to be set at the kiddies table instead of with the big boys. And that doesn't bide well in the workplace because it's all about people rising to the top and being promoted. And that's what everybody strives for, is the recognition of their worth and value, and to be judged as awesome, competent, responsible, worthy. And even when others deem you to be all of those things that are positive, that still soft little scared child within you that developed from an alcoholic family is inside judging itself without mercy, judging him or herself without mercy. And it creates burnout. And a situation that's so fixable is just realizing that it's over. Your parents can no longer put that guilt trip on you. They can no longer shame you. They can no longer do anything to make you judge yourself so harshly that you feel like you don't deserve what you get in the workplace. ACoAs will pass over raises and promotions because they don't feel like they can cut the mustard and do the job, when in fact they're probably the most capable or more capable than their co-workers of that job and that performance of that, executing that individual job description. You have to be able to ask yourself when you're taking on too much, and when to judge yourself appropriately versus when you're starting to judge yourself inappropriately. And you know when that occurs. It occurs the minute that you experience that gut-wrenching shame and guilt that you did as a child, when your alcoholic parent was telling you what a no-good loser you were, or how they wish you'd never been born, or life would have been so much better without you. Or when you hear that kid inside of you, the kid that never grew up because he's so cowering in a corner, still cowering in a corner, and he says, you're not worthy. You know, once again, this is just another slap in the face, and you want to walk with your tail between your legs away from it. Lying makes employers terminate ACoAs, and judging yourself without mercy makes ACoAs terminate their employment or quit their employer because they can't handle the emotional duress that they put themselves under. It's all self-created as a result of your rearing. And just as it's self-created, it can be self-deconstructed and put into an appropriate level of ego that's acceptable for human beings in the workforce. You're just as worthy, just as capable of everybody else. And just remember, don't judge yourself without mercy, because it will wreck your chances at an employment setting and with your home life. A lot of husbands divorce their wives because they feel inadequate or that they've judged themselves as being unworthy. Judging yourself without any type of mercy is not right. You need to judge yourself by the same standard that you judge other people. And that'll make it work. Because you know those other people, you don't judge them harshly. You accept some of their fallacies and some of their misgivings, and you say that's acceptable. So make it acceptable for yourself. You're human. You're not perfect. We're all human. All of our shit stinks. None of it smells like roses. So don't judge yourself so harsh. Love yourself. Don't judge yourself.